Okay, perfect.
Welcome, everyone. We are so excited to see you here tonight. Thank you for joining us. If you don't know me, my name is Brittany Raup, and I will tell you more about me later. But I am really excited to have a special guest on our monthly wellness Zoom. This is our eighth month doing this in a row. We started at the beginning of the year, and so it has been so good to just share health and wellness tips and to hear from everyone what you're wanting to learn and how you're wanting to just grow in your health and wellness. And I'm really excited to introduce Virginia, and she will tell you more about herself. But we actually connected on Instagram. And so I love that there are amazing people out there on social media that you can meet who are like minded. And we connected over faith, over hormones, over helping women achieve optimal health. And we just have had a sweet connection so far. And so I am very honored and thankful to have her on here as our guest. And I'm going to let her kick us off so we can talk about faith hormones and how God truly designed our bodies to heal. So, Virginia, you can take it away.
Okay, thank you, Brittany. I'm so excited to be here with you guys and share little tidbits of knowledge and a little bit of my story and just kind of explain a little bit of a different perspective that you probably haven't heard before that your body is created to heal, which is the title of this presentation. So I'm excited to kind of dive into faith and hormones and just the body that God has designed for you. So, if you are here, you are in the right place if you're dealing with any of these things. And this is not a complete list, there's a lot more to it. But if you just feel like your hormones are a hot mess, right? You feel like you're all over the place with your hormones. Maybe you have a lot of irritability or rage. You deal with mood swings, hot flashes, any of those things. And you're just told that it's a normal part of being a woman, which is so common. You go to your doctor and they say, well, that's just kind of normal, right? Most women deal with those things. But newsflash, it's not normal. Your body is not meant to just feel like that all the time. Or maybe you've had trouble conceiving and pregnancy hasn't come as quickly as you thought that it would. Or maybe now you're postpartum and now your cycle and your hormones are just no longer the same. Your cycles aren't the same. Now you're dealing with all of this, all of these other things, right? Like mood swings or rage or irritability, some of these things, and you just feel like something is off, right? You're in the right place because this is for you, and we're going to be talking about all of these things. So, a little bit about me. Like I said, I am Virginia, so hello. And my past was actually based in chronic Lyme disease. So, not huge like hormone or fertility struggles, but I actually had chronic Lyme disease that went undiagnosed for 9 years. And so it went on for a very long time. And through this time, I had all of these different symptoms. So I did actually lose my cycle, my period for 2 years. I had a lot of weight fluctuations. I had a lot of inflammation. I dealt with hormonal acne. And I did not take pictures during this period of my life. So this was literally one of the best ones that I could find. But during this time, I actually did have a lot of hormonal acne all around my chin. And I just dealt with a lot of inflammation. You could probably see like my eyes were really puffy and swollen, and my face was. I had a lot of bloating and constipation, and I actually had a lot of memory loss as well. And so when I went to get help with these things and just try to figure it out, I really was only faced with two options, right? I was faced with conventional medicine, which just gave me labs and more medications. That was the only thing that they could offer me. And so I was kind of frustrated with that. No one was really helping. And so I said, okay, let me go the natural route, right? So I pursued natural medicine. And when I did that, I was just given labs and a lot of supplements. I was given a lot of restrictive diets like gluten-free, dairy-free, egg-free, soy-free, like just everything free, right? It was so difficult to try to avoid all of those things. And then I was given a lot of just expensive therapies, right? Things that just felt really out of reach, like chiropractic care and acupuncture and herbal remedies and colonics and hydrotherapy and all these things that just when all piled on top of it, it just felt so difficult. And I really was struggling with just these two options, right? Either conventional medicine or natural medicine, and both just felt so unattainable. And I really felt like healing was just really hard. And so eventually I said, you know what? I'm just going to quit all of my doctors and I'm going to figure this out myself. And so, and I did. And a little bit of backstory too, during all of this, I was actually in college and I was also a pre-med major. So at the end of this, trying to figure things out, I actually enrolled in medical school and then eventually dropped out and said, you know what? I want to become a health coach instead. And so I became a hormone and fertility health coach because I saw how many women were really struggling with their hormones and their fertility specifically. And this was just such a huge blind spot for a lot of women where you spend years on birth control or years trying to avoid pregnancy. And then all of a sudden you decide you want to become pregnant. And then you either get pregnant and have your prenatal care, or you struggle to get pregnant and you're offered IVF. And there's nothing in between of saying, hey, let's optimize your hormones, let's balance your hormones, let's prevent pregnancy naturally without taking a bunch of synthetic hormones, and let's support your body and optimize your fertility naturally. And there was really just this huge gap of care that I saw, and I really wanted to fill that gap and help women in ways that I wanted to be helped, right? I wanted support and help without just more labs, without more supplements, without more diets. I really just wanted to understand God's design, how He designed our bodies to heal, and be able to just help other women in the way that I wish that I was helped. And so, through this is how I've also helped so many clients balance their hormones naturally and get pregnant naturally, but then also myself. I've implemented a lot of these principles and practices pre-conception, and now I'm currently 33 weeks pregnant with my first pregnancy, and it has been a wonderful pregnancy. I dare I say very easy as well. I'm very, very thankful for it. Oh, hang on. I think I forgot to mute everyone, although I don't know if someone was saying something to me specifically. Sorry about that. Um, but I'm so grateful for it. And I know it's probably because of so much of the work that I've done ahead of time. And this is exactly what I help my clients with and what I'm going to walk you through today as well. So if you're already thinking, okay, how is this possible? I want to tell you and encourage you that your body is designed to heal, right? It's not because your body is broken or something's just not working right. Your body is designed to heal. And we see this all the time through what your body does, right? If you get a scrape, it heals. If you have a cold, your body heals. And if you have a broken leg, your body heals, right? We see this all the time where your body is always working for you. Every day, your cells are repairing, your heart is beating, your lungs are breathing, right? Your body is always working for you. That's how God designed it. And so, if something isn't working correctly, right? If your hormones aren't working right, if you're dealing with all those things that I mentioned in the beginning, the mood swings, the hot flashes, if your cycle's really irregular, or maybe you're not ovulating, or maybe your cycle's really painful or something, right? If that process isn't happening, then something is missing, right? It's just as simple as that. Something is missing, and we just get to become the detectives to figure out what that is. And so, another thing I want to kind of give you a different perspective on is that your cycle, so whether or not you are thinking about fertility or reproduction or getting pregnant right now, your menstrual cycle, your monthly menstrual cycle is designed for fertility, right? Every single month, your body is releasing an egg at ovulation to try to get pregnant. And so that's what your menstrual cycle is. And so issues with your menstrual cycle when they show up like spotting or irregular periods or irritability or mood swings, when you have those issues, that's telling us that your body is no longer prioritizing reproduction, right? There's a reason that your body doesn't feel safe to prioritize reproduction. And so what we get to do, like I mentioned, we get to become detectives, right? And look at what is missing.
Somebody go
So,
get mommy a ponytail.
so what we get to do, oops, sorry about that. Oh, you're fine. You're totally fine. I think I may have just asked you to unmute. I tried to mute you and I asked to unmute, so just ignore that. So anyways, what we get to do is we get to look at your lifestyle and your dietary factors to determine why your body is stuck in survival mode, right? And the survival mode is really kind of coming back to the idea that your body is not prioritizing reproduction because it doesn't feel safe, right? When your body feels safe, like it has ample resources to be able to support another life, that fertility and reproduction happens easily and naturally. But when that isn't happening, it's because your body doesn't feel safe and it's stuck in this survival mode, right? And so now we get to look at your lifestyle and nutrition and habits and all those things to figure out what is keeping your body stuck. Okay. And so examples of this is in all my clients, when I work with my clients, I'm taking a huge inventory of their daily habits, of their nutrition, right? And I'm able to look just after one meeting and see all the blind spots that's missing in their lifestyle and in their diet and what's causing their issues just through their habits alone, right? And so a few examples of things I see all the time that are very common is if your coffee is breakfast, right? If your breakfast is coffee and then for lunch you're just eating your toddler's leftovers, then of course your cycle is going to be off, right? Of course it is. If you can't remember the last time you had a good night of sleep, right? Then of course your hormones are going to be a mess. And if you kind of classify yourself as someone who's always stressed out, you're always running on stress and you never get a rest, right? Then of course your fertility is going to be off or you're going to be struggling with fertility, right? These are all habits that impact your hormones and your fertility, and we can't just keep forcing our body to fit our circumstances or fit our lifestyle, right? Our biology and our physiology needs consistent food and nutrition and sleep and rest and all these things that we're going to kind of go into. But all of that to say is that you don't need labs to see how your habits are affecting your cycle, right? And more supplements are not going to solve the issue that your habits are causing, right? If your habits are causing all of your hormonal issues, then taking more supplements is not going to help anything, right? You're going to be fighting an uphill battle. We need to get to the root of what's causing these things. And it is 99.9% of the time the habits and the nutrition and your mindset and the lifestyle and things that you are doing on a daily basis, right? Because all of these things are inputs that tell your body how to function. And so if your habits and your lifestyle are off, then that is telling your body how to function, right? And it's just causing sort of an issue. I'm trying to figure out how to say that, but hopefully you get what I'm saying. So, and the other piece to this, because like I mentioned, we are going to talk about faith, and I am a Christian and a believer in Jesus. And so I want to kind of incorporate the faith and action aspect because a lot of people are usually missing one or the other, where you say, I have faith, I know Jesus can heal me, and fertility is, truly in the hands of the Lord, which it absolutely is. And He's the author and creator of life. So I'm going to pray and wait on Him, which is a good thing. But we can't forget the action piece, right? We have to be good stewards of our vessels and we have to do our part. And I actually tended to be on the other side of that, where I felt like I was putting in so much action, doing all the things, working, 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 doing all the things I knew what was right, but I wasn't actually just surrendering the timing to the Lord and trusting that He would provide healing for me in His perfect timing. And so there's two pieces to this, and we really have to learn how to balance both of those. And a perfect scripture that summarizes this is in James 2:14 through 17. And this scripture is actually sort of the framework of my entire program, which is called Faithful and Fertile Women. And it says, what does it profit, my brethren, if someone says he has faith, but he does not have works? Can faith save him? If a brother or sister is naked and destitute of daily food, and one of you says to them, depart in peace, be warmed and filled, but you do not give them the things which are needed for the body, what does it profit? Thus also faith by itself, if it does not have works, is dead. And I love this because I think it so encompasses how we tend to do things today, right? We say, depart in peace, be warmed and filled, right? We say, go in faith, and the Lord will provide fertility and pregnancy for you in the right timing. You will be healed. Go in peace and walk in that faith. But yet you resume all of your daily habits, right? Scripture says, but you do not give them the things which are needed for the body, then what does it profit, right? We can pray, we can be prophesied over and all those things, but if you are not walking out that action and intentionally giving yourself the things which are needed for the body, then what does it profit, right? Faith without works is dead, and we have to have both of these components. And so that's really the angle that I'm coming at from it as well, because I know that any health journey is also a spiritual journey, a really big one. And understanding what God has for you, understanding how He views you, understanding how He loves you and wants good things for you, but then also understanding how we need to be good stewards and do our part, right? And also support our bodies. And we have a responsibility, right? Our temple, or our body is the temple of the Holy Spirit. And that's a huge responsibility to care for that. And so we really need both of these two pieces. And that's also a huge gap that I've seen with a lot of different practitioners now or coaches, right? A lot of these people are not faith-based, or maybe they are, but then they don't have the strategic action to kind of back it up. So we really want to try to marry both of these components. Um, and so I wanted to kind of give you, oh, sorry, I got ahead of myself. So, like I said, we want to take clear and actionable steps towards the outcome of what you are praying for. And in doing so, that is how you can do your part while also surrendering the timing to Christ, right? Because oftentimes it's really hard to feel like how can you surrender the timing to the Lord while also actively working towards something. And this is how you can do it, right? By balancing these two things, which takes a lot of practice, but that's also what we spend a lot of time talking about together. So I wanted to give you, like I mentioned, an example. So this was one of my clients, Kayla, and she was a year postpartum and she was eating really healthy, but yet she was dealing with so many things, like literally, you name it. Every single symptom that you could think of, she was dealing with. Like she said, she classified it as inexplicable rage, just like lashing out at random things. Anxiety, depression. She had night sweats every single night. She had really irregular periods that were also very, very painful. Cravings, insomnia, low libido, low energy. And she also wanted to get pregnant again, but was struggling to conceive because her cycle was so irregular and she had really painful periods. And all of that, like all of her mood swings and everything, it just made her feel really insecure, right? Not only as a woman, but specifically as a wife and a mother. And so for her, we worked on refueling properly because she was still a nursing mom. We really needed to make sure that she was giving herself enough fuel, just enough food, and she wasn't. So that was a really big one, is we really wanted to work on refueling her properly. And then we also gave her liver support to help with night sweats in her period. So, for example, what we were able to do is we were looking at her symptoms, and every symptom that you have is sort of communicating to you what's going on, right? So things like anxiety and rage and irregular painful periods, that all can communicate low progesterone. And so rather than taking progesterone supplements or taking a like a progesterone cream, right? Your body is meant to make enough progesterone, right? Your body is designed and wired to make enough progesterone. We don't need to supplement it. We just need to encourage your body to make more of it. And you can do that when you understand the physiology of how your body is meant to function, right? What your body needs in order to make progesterone. So that's really what we're doing. When I'm talking about liver support and progesterone support, we're looking and understanding at what your body needs to fuel these processes on its own. And it all comes back to your lifestyle and your diet and your nutrition, right? So this is really what we were working on. So we're working on supporting her specific body systems and her specific hormones through different lifestyle and dietary habits to really support her body. And so within 4 months, she actually had painless periods. So no more really painful periods, but they were completely painless. She didn't have any rage or anxiety anymore. Her libido was increasing. She didn't have night sweats anymore, less cravings. And she mentioned several times that she had a sense of strength and empowerment and just felt like the best version of herself. And she also got pregnant. And now she has two boys, two baby boys. So now I want you to start here. So if you're kind of in this place of, okay, I'm dealing with hormonal issues, I'm dealing with cycle issues, I'm dealing with fertility struggles, and you're trying to think of, okay, what do I do? Where do I go? Before you get labs done or get a hormone balancing supplement or start a new diet or something, because that is the very normal flow of things, right? People say my hormones are a hot mess. Maybe I should just get labs, or maybe I should just take a vitamin D supplement or something because everyone says that you need it. I want to remind you that again, if you do not have these foundational pieces in place, like a solid lifestyle and nutrition that are supporting hormone balance, then you're essentially fighting an uphill battle, right? Because you can take take all the supplements in the world, but if you are still continuing to propel these issues by living a certain lifestyle or not eating certain things or eating certain things, right? Then you are fueling that process to happen and you're just basically wasting your supplements, right? And then the labs are the same way. It's like we don't need labs to tell us what we can see just through having a conversation about your food and your lifestyle, right? So I want to kind of give you the biggest pieces that need to be in place first. These are the biggest things that I see with my clients, and I want to kind of walk you through some of these. So the first one is probably very simplified, and you might be thinking, surely it can't be this simple, but I promise you it is. Years ago, I actually named my business. So my name is Virginia. And I actually named my business Simply Virginia, simply because I wanted to emphasize how simple your health can be, how much more simple it is than you've ever been told. And I know that these things probably sound really simple, and I promise you it gets to be simple. It doesn't get to be easy, but it really gets to be this simple. Your body really needs basic things in order for your physiology to work. And remember that when your body has the right tools it needs, it knows how to function properly, right? Your body's always trying to work for you, but we are often fighting against our body because we are not giving it the things that it needs in order for it to do its job. So we want to eat three satiating meals a day, okay? No more coffee for breakfast. Like, I mean, coffee as a breakfast, I should say. You can have coffee with breakfast, but make sure you are also eating something. We want to make sure that you are eating a substantial lunch and a substantial dinner, right? We want three satiating meals a day, and that is going to fuel your body and give your body the energy that it needs. Even if you're concerned about weight loss, this is still so, so important to make sure that you are eating three solid meals a day. And then at those meals, have protein at every single meal. It is the standard American diet to have very carb-centric meals, things like pasta, bread, rice, bagels, oatmeal, things like that. And we really want to add protein back into the picture. You can still have carbs. In fact, carbs are very important for your hormone health, but we want to make sure that you are adding protein in at every single meal. And then we also just want to get outside, get some fresh air and some sunlight every single day. Believe it or not, sunlight, when it hits your eyes, actually helps your brain understand what time it is and helps to regulate your hormones and then thus your fertility and your cycle as well. So sunlight is actually really important as well. And then same thing with sleep. We want to make sure that you are asleep and in bed by 11 p.m. every night. If you're someone who's an early bird, I have a lot of clients who also go to bed by like 9:30 every night, which is fantastic. But if you do that, we also want to make sure that you are getting enough sleep. So we want to shoot for like 8 to 9 hours of sleep. So really give yourself those windows of either asleep by 11 p.m. or a full 8 hours of sleep. And then the last thing is just do something you enjoy every day to relieve stress. I know all of us have stressors, every single one of us. And so if you ever Google like how to manage stress, you're probably going to see a lot of like complicated things like, oh, do an hour of meditation every day, or really focus on your breath work, or do all of these things that are just, if they work for you, fantastic. Or if you have the time to do them, fantastic. But that can feel really hard. And sometimes managing your stress just feels like another thing to like add to your plate. And that can feel overwhelming. So, what I encourage you to do to relieve stress is just do something fun. Do something totally fun, even if it's not a classic, like healthy thing for you. Just do something that makes you laugh. Do something that makes you smile. Maybe it's a hobby that you used to love. Maybe you're a creative person and you like drawing, or maybe you want to do a puzzle, or maybe you want to bake cookies at night because that's something fun for you. Maybe you just want to listen to your like early high school playlist that you used to listen to, and you just want to drive around in your car and blast that music or have a dance party or something. Do something that just relieves stress for you that is just enjoyable and really fun. And that is one of the biggest things. And again, I know it sounds so simple, but I promise you, that is one of the biggest things that can actually regulate your hormones, because cortisol and daily stress is actually one of the biggest inhibitors to your body, to your hormones actually regulating your fertility hormones and reproductive hormones specifically to actually regulating. When you are pumping out high amounts of cortisol, your reproductive hormones quite literally cannot regulate. They cannot, your body cannot make enough of them. So the stress piece is really a huge, huge component. And again, this is where I said it doesn't always get to be easy, but it is very, very simple. And this is where a lot of the need for support can come in, right? Because it's so hard to understand your blind spots, or you know what you need to do, but it's just so hard to do it. And so this is really where having a support system can be really helpful. And I want to encourage you too that in Proverbs 21:5 says, the plans of the diligent lead surely to plenty, but those of everyone who is hasty surely to poverty. And I just want this to encourage you, because making these changes, and really any changes, and taking ownership and responsibility of your health and your habits and your nutrition and the things you're doing every day, that requires diligence, right? That requires a lot of effort and intention and diligence, but scripture tells us that that will lead to plenty. But if you are hasty, you're trying to hurry the process, right? And you don't want to take the time and put in the work, it says that that will lead surely to poverty. And so I want to just encourage you with that as well. That when you are diligent, it will lead to plenty. And so you can connect with me. I am on Instagram and on TikTok. It's the same handle. It's simply underscore Virginia underscore. And so if you want to connect with me, follow me, stay in my world, you can click. I have links in my bio on both places, and it's the same link. And you can have, find lots of different ways to work with me and whatnot, or message me. I'm always love messaging people and chatting with you, and I would love to hear from you. So feel free to just send me a message. Let me know what you think. Let me know if you have any questions, and I would be happy to chat with you.
Thank you so much, Virginia. That was
Yeah, of
incredible.
course.
Virginia, if you wouldn't mind still like clicking through the slides so that we don't have to
Yeah.
like go back and forth with the host
Yes,
thing, that would be great.
of course.
Um, but I love what she shared, and what stuck out to me is like you should feel hopeful, right? Like when we hear that, oh, my body has the capacity to heal itself, and my body wants, support and like simple things. Like you should feel hopeful, right? Like it makes me feel hopeful. And part of the reason is because I struggled with fertility. You can see from my picture here. For these next couple of minutes, I'm just going to tell you a little bit about my story. So I mentioned my name is Brittany, and I have about 20 years experience as a wellness coach. I worked in a medical fitness facility for years, doing exercise physiology and nutrition programming. And at that time, this is like former life. Now I'm a homeschool mom of four, and I really help women with gut health and nutrition. But back when I was working as a personal trainer and an exercise physiologist, you would have looked at me and thought that I was like the picture of health. I was a healthy weight, I was strong, I was working out all the time, I ate pretty well, but metabolically, I was a disaster. And I didn't really know that the things I was struggling with were abnormal. Very much like what Virginia shared. Like we just think like, oh, this is being a woman, like crashing out if I didn't eat, or just like the crazy hormone swings, the super painful and heavy periods. Like I just was like, oh, this is just how it is, this is how I am. Um, but it was when my husband and I started to want to grow our family. I had two back-to-back miscarriages, and I was told by a doctor like that's normal, and I was like, it's not normal. Like there's something going on here, especially with like back-to-back. So I found out that I had PCOS, polycystic ovarian syndrome, which is now called PMOS because it's a metabolic syndrome, which is such a better, diagnosis. And I found that I had, metabolism issues, and that my insulin was very high and my sugar would bottom out after I ate. And I was on this roller coaster of blood sugar imbalance. And so this is before I knew about gut health. This was before I really learned how to balance my body. So I was able to have three kids, but I had to take metformin for 3 months before I got pregnant. I took progesterone 3 times a day. I was heavily medicated through the pregnancies. You can see I'm on a heart monitor there, 23 years old, pregnant. And it was just not great. Like I really felt crummy. I'm super thankful that I was able to have three kids that way. But it was after my third baby that I really started to make some nutrition changes, some stress management changes, and really focus on my gut health. And for me, that did include some supplements, but just like Virginia said, you cannot out supplement your lifestyle. So in order for those things to work for you, you really have to be doing the basics and supporting your body. So some things that I changed that really transformed my health and actually reversed my PCOS to where I no longer have any symptoms of PCOS, and my Hashimoto's, which is an autoimmune underactive thyroid situation, really settled down. It used to be just all over the place, constantly, fluctuating. Things settled down in my body. My chronic acne cleared up. And what changed was really focusing on protein and anti-inflammatory nutrition. So very similar to what Virginia shared with you, just getting back to some basics of protein at every meal, protein first. Like when you look at your plate, eat the protein first actually has a profound impact on your blood sugar post eating, is to just eat that protein first, really focus in on my gut health and those daily habits, like those little things every day that make such a difference. Regular sunshine, regular exercise, focusing on a low tox lifestyle. So for me personally, I did like some common sense, not like full life overhaul. It's not like I have no plastic in my house or, whatever, but low toxing my lifestyle to where I removed a lot of the things that I realized were disrupting my hormones. So, like microwaving food and plastics, getting out chlorine and fluoride from my water, bromine out of my flour, right? Like using unbleached flour. And for me, also getting rid of synthetic fragrances and chemicals in my food. Like that was huge. It just needed less toxins attacking my system, right? We all have a toxic load that we can tolerate. And if we push it over the edge, we start to have issues. And for me, I was definitely having issues. I also adjusted my lifestyle to my chronotype. And that just means like how your body functions with like your rise time, your sleep time, what you need and how you function best. So I realized that I am an early morning person and my body feels the best and responds the best if I get up around 5:30 a.m. every single day. And so rather than switching that all around and sleeping in on the weekends and staying up late, I was just like, you know what? Let me have a consistent wake and sleep cycle. And I feel like that was really key to helping my body overall just regulate. So just tune in, like start to pay attention to how you feel. And, are you an early person? Are you more of a late night person? How does your body respond the best? So those are some simple changes that I made. You can go to the next slide. And I've worked with literally thousands of women over my 20 years from medical fitness facility to now my gut health business. And there are some themes that have come out. Maybe you guys can relate to these. One is chronic undereating. There are so many women that they're like, I'm not eating anything, and yet I can't lose weight. I just feel like I'm getting heavier and heavier. And it's because your body is in starvation mode. So just going back to those, basic 3 meals a day, protein first. Even something really simple, like lately I've gotten into just drinking bone broth in the morning for breakfast. And like, it sounds so weird. It's so like not American, but I've been making a big batch. It's high protein, it's low fat and carbs. And like, okay, that's something I can do every single day to make sure I'm starting my day with protein. I've also seen like toxin overload. We are just inundated with so many toxins that can feel overwhelming to try to address them. But sometimes just looking at one area, like your laundry or, your water quality, things like that can really help. I've seen that really improve women with their overall health. Poor sleep habits are something we absolutely need to address. You cannot out supplement poor sleep. You cannot out supplement a poor diet. These are basic things. Also, an all or nothing exercise mindset. Like I am either going 1,000 miles per hour doing like crazy high intensity interval training and like I'm killing myself. And if I can't do that, then I'm not doing anything. I quit, right? I see that all the time. It's like, no, just get in the habit of, taking a daily walk or doing some kind of enjoyable exercise like dance or Pilates, something that makes your body feel good, moves your muscles, your circulation. It's all helpful. It all counts. Also neglecting gut health. Your gut microbiome is at the core of all of your health issues. And I have found that if you can address your gut health, you are going to see improvement across the board. So strengthening your gut lining, eating gut-friendly foods, trying to avoid those inflammatory foods that can have an enormous impact, and just lacking nutrients in general. It's really important to be eating lots of fruits and vegetables. So super restrictive diets can do a lot of damage. You may lose weight, but if you're missing out on key nutrients, then in the long run, that's not an awesome thing. And for me, what it all comes down to is stewardship. I love just focusing on the idea of stewardship across my whole life, right? Like 1 Corinthians 10:31, whether we eat or we drink or whatever we do, we're doing it all to the glory of God. And, I'm often thinking about how short our life is. We're talking about our physical lives here, and they, compared to all of eternity, they really are so, so short. And so sometimes it feels like, man, this feels like a lot of work for such a short thing. But it does have an eternal impact because when you are stable in your hormones and you are energized and you are able to thrive, then you can pour into other people and you can be strong to come alongside people and help them. You can be present for your family instead of needing to nap every afternoon. And that has eternal impact. So for me, taking care of my mind, taking care of my body really is stewardship. It doesn't need to be perfect, but I want to steward it well as unto the Lord because it does really matter. So just kind of what I've been doing for the past 9 years is I've created a wellness community. It's called Made to Thrive because that's the goal, is to help women thrive in their wellness. Everything I do is coming from a faith-based approach because that's just at the core, the most important thing to me. And we're really focused on gut health and detoxing. I do partner with a supplement company, so that has been a really significant part of my journey and my healing. But the lifestyle part of it is key. It is absolutely key. So we focus on holistic lifestyle support groups and challenges. I run a support group pretty much every month. So I do have a September support group coming up focused on anti-inflammatory eating, with a meal plan, with a weekly nutrition Zoom, and then tailored supplements depending on your wellness needs and goals. And so you have my contact information there. You can find me on Facebook or Instagram. And yes, that is what I've been doing for the past 9 years. So I want to pop a link in the chat for you guys. So every time I do a wellness Zoom, I share this Google form, and it helps me so much if you would click that or like copy and paste it into a note so you can do it later. It will only take you a minute. It's just a couple of questions, but it gives you share your email address so that we can invite you to the next wellness Zoom. And there's also a spot for feedback. So I go and I read every comment and base our content for the upcoming months based on what you want to learn about, what you want to hear about. I can bring in guest speakers for those things or share, my background in exercise and nutrition with you. So I would appreciate it so much if you would just take a second to fill out that form. And that way we can continue to connect and help you on a one-on-one level. But I would encourage you, if you've been struggling with your hormones, if you've been struggling with fertility, if you just need support in your overall health and wellness, just take a first step. Your wellness is super personal, and there's not one plan that's going to, work for every single person. It really is an individualized thing. And it can just take a simple conversation to find out what's lacking or what's in excess to prevent that balance and that healing in your body. So, both of us, Virginia and myself, we would love to connect with you if something that we shared really stuck out to you, or if you just want to have a further conversation and tell us about your journey. I know I would love that. I'm sure Virginia would love it too. So, again, I put our Instagram handles. You guys can feel free to message us personally. And then, just as a thank you for being on here, I'm going to send you a 1 week meal plan that I made that just has high protein, anti-inflammatory meals that might just give you some good ideas. I will be providing a 4 week meal plan with our September support group if you're interested, but I just wanted to give you guys just a little tool as a thank you for being here. And thank you again, Virginia, for taking the time to do this with me tonight. It was really so, so valuable. And yeah, I just appreciate you so much.
Yes, of course. I was happy to. And it was great to be here. I loved hearing everything that you said as well. So thank you.
All right. Thank you, ladies. We'll hopefully see you on next month and have a wonderful evening.